Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Support for the show today comes from ZBiotics. Let me tell you something. When I go out and I have a few drinks, especially during the holidays, I want to enjoy myself without waking up the next morning feeling like I made a terrible decision. That's why I keep ZBiotics pre-alcohol with me. It is a little probiotic drink that you take before your first drink of the night. Scientists designed it to help your body break down the byproduct that actually makes you feel awful the next day. It's not dehydration. It's that buildup in your gut. That's what does it. So the first time I tried it was before a long dinner with friends. I've told you the story before I took it. Before I had my first drink, I had a good time. I went to bed, and the next morning, well, I thought, hold on. I feel normal. I feel great. Why do I feel so rested? Well, that's what I said. All right. So I'm telling you, the stuff works. So with all the celebrations coming, tailgates, date nights, office parties, keep ZBiotics with you. Go to zbiotics.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON for 15% off of your first order. And if you don't love it, they're going to refund you with no hassle. zbiotics.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON. Good morning, Lemonheads. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the program. So happy that you are here. I say that every day, but it's true. I really am happy that you're here, and it warms my heart to read. I read the chat as we are getting dressed. And sometimes I have to have the producers repeat things because I'm so in the chat. And I'm like, wait a minute, say that again? I don't even know if they know that's what's happening. I love when people call me Uncle Don. That's what obviously my nieces call me Uncle Don and my great nephews. But good morning. Oh, hey, look, check it out. I finally got what I wanted. I love this shirt and I love the mug. Yeah. So, hi, everyone. Let me know where you are. Epstein, Jobs, Halligan. I mean, you should be like, Jobs, because it's just a whisper. We got the jobs reports. And also, I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm still fighting a cold. Hopefully, I can get some rest for the Thanksgiving holidays. Are you guys looking forward to the Thanksgiving holidays? I know some people actually don't look forward to the holidays because they get a little down and depressed in the dumps or whatever. Anyways, hi, New Jersey. Hello, Miami. Oh, Miami. Is it nice and warm in Miami right now? Compton, California. New Orleans. Hello. Okay. So let's talk this morning. First of all, can you guys please do something? I need everybody to go in there. Everyone, please go in and hit the thumbs up and hit the likes. And make sure that you are subscribed and also become a member of the channel. I don't know if you guys realize how important that is for us folks who are out here, that you support us, because again, we are not big corporate media, right? Buffalo, New York, Northern New Jersey. We depend upon the kindness of strangers to help bring the independent stuff. So, that and sponsors. And, so there we go. And I'm just being honest with you guys. So thank you for your support. We appreciate it. Welcome to all of our new members who are going to join today. Some who have joined already. And yeah, so someone said that there's a certain news station talking too much about Dick Cheney today. Yeah, we're not doing that. May God rest his soul. But Dick Cheney is no longer here. And we already talked about him when he passed. And so, we shall move on and discuss what's happening. So I was sitting here this morning getting ready with my cup of tea and, just letting it cool a little bit because, I like it hot. I like the lemon. And then the honey, you got to be careful with the heat. The honey, it can burn you. So I'm letting it cool a little bit. I took the first sip and I could feel something before I even started talking about the news. Because that feeling when I always tell you that I have a good spidey sense. Your body knows before your mind catches up, and I can tell where the day is going and what's going to happen, and if it's going to bring something heavy or not, something real, something that you can't ignore. Women call it women's intuition, right? And men call it, my spidey senses, right? And so that's where I am right now. And once you become a person of a certain age, once you become where it says old people who be knowing, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. You already know the day that you are going to have, the day that you deserve. You already know it, or the day that you don't even deserve. So sure enough, the first headline I saw this morning, because it always comes out, usually it's supposed to, but this administration don't know, the jobs report. Okay, so the jobs report, and we're going to get to Epstein. Don't forget, I know Epstein. The jobs report: 119,000 jobs added, and unemployment climbing. Remember, this is the hottest country. It's great, whatever. The unemployment numbers are going up 4.4%. That is the highest that we have seen in years. More than 7 million people are out of work right now. Are we great again yet? Isn't it so great to be so? It's great to be so great that people can't find work. And that New York Times, it says, look, jobs report shows gains in September, but unemployment rate rose. But don't forget about the negative jobs that happened months before. And also, we may never get the October numbers because the government was shut down. So if you just stop there with this, then you're going to miss the truth, because the truth is not in the headline. The truth is in the people that nobody counts, the people who are working part-time but need full-time work, the people who are working jobs and they don't have a living wage, the people who are making minimum wage that does not pay for their life. A modest life. I'm not talking about something that's extravagant. I'm not talking upper middle class. I'm not really even talking middle class. The people who want a job but cannot get back into the labor force because the door has been closing on them slowly for years. And now it's being shut because we have an administration that cares about the stock market, making money for rich people, tax cuts for rich people. You saw Donald Trump during the election. I'm going to make you so rich. There was a chart going around this morning that's showing the reality of underemployment in this country. Underemployment that we don't talk about. Not unemployment, but they call it underemployment in this country. Folks who want more hours, folks who want steady work, folks who want a job, period. That's what they want. And when you put all those groups together, you see a picture that is a lot closer to the worst parts of the pandemic. Remember, look, there it is. Underemployment. So this is like closest to the worst parts of the actual pandemic. Remember when the economy was in the shitter? And guess what? Guess who that was? That was Donald Trump the first time. So he is competing with himself. And so any of these Republicans in Washington, they don't want to admit that. It's not trending up. It's not stabilizing. It's slipping. And you can hear it in the way people talk about work now. You can hear it in the way that they talk about their bills. You can hear it in the way people say that they're just holding on but barely. That's the real story, not the headline number. That's the real story. And we're going to have someone to come on and talk about that. But it's not the press release. That's not the spin. That's none of that. Okay. So, and let me tell you something. When you get to a place where even Fox News is speaking like I'm speaking now, and they are poo-pooing the economy and how people feel about the economy, you know something serious is happening, because Fox will spin anything if it helps the narrative, anything. But when even they can't sell this economy as strong, it means their viewers are feeling the squeeze. Watch.
But the issue of affordability, the issue of how people feel about the economy popping up in our latest polls, personal financial situation now, excellent, good, 40%, only fair or poor, 60%. You can see that changing from July. Condition of the U.S. economy, also a perception totally upside down, 76 to 25, and that changing a bit. And then economic conditions for the nation and you personally, again, 25% positive, 76 negative for the nation, and then 60-40 personally. So
that ain't good. No, excuse me. I told you yesterday, because old people be knowing. I told you yesterday that they can spin all this stuff. People are going to look and say, why is Donald Trump doing this? Why is the administration doing this? Why are they doing this? When they are, I'm looking for my wallet. I don't have it here. When they are, what they know the numbers in their wallet. They know how much money they're spending. They know. And then so that they're going to get to a point where they go, wait, what's, you're not taking care of me. What's all this noise? I said this yesterday. And then I said maybe a week or so ago, when he's like traipsing off to Europe and everywhere, and he's doing all these things. Okay, that stuff is important, but that stuff does not improve your standing among American people, especially those who are hurting. And so I said, he can spin all he wants about Epstein. He can spin all he wants about, which is really hurting people, people being dragged into, SUVs and cars and picked up off the street and detained. Many of them American citizens, all those things. He can distract with all of the things. But people know their wallets. They know how much money they're spending. They know what's coming in. They know, compared to other times, how little they have. They see the prices at the grocery store. They're getting the energy bills, whatever Con Ed or this Midwest Power or Northeast Power or whatever it might be. PSE&G, these are just numbers that companies that I know supplies electricity. They know what their energy bill is costing right now. So over at the Fox News and the conservatives, their base, the MAGA folks, they're writing in and they're saying, hey, whoa, what's all this stuff? We can't breathe financially. They're tired. And that's when Fox News has to step away from the cheerleading and they have to start sounding nervous because they are not just reading the tea leaves, they're out there getting statistics. And when Fox News sounds nervous about the economy, that is a sign. It is a big one. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, he keeps calling this a curious pattern. But there's nothing curious about when people are afraid. There's nothing curious about that. And that's what this is right now. And so this is has been my overall theme this week. And then the underlying underemployment, the underlying theme that I've been telling you since this Epstein thing came is Epstein. And this is a thing that breaks the spell. And this is when Donald Trump starts to lose support and power. So that's what I meant when I said Epstein. Keep focusing on that. He doesn't want reporters asking about that. And I told you the number one question that I can't believe no one has asked him, especially publicly. Maybe someone will see this. Maybe there was a reporter. Somebody will get some cojones and ask him the question. Is there anything in those files that is hurtful to you or anything that shows that you did something inappropriate with an underage girl? And please, can we stop saying underage women? Because women are not underage. Girls are underage. You don't say underage men, you say underage boys. So let's just call it for what it is. So someone needs to ask that question to him live in a big interview, something. Did you have anything, just like did you do anything appropriate? Bill Clinton, I did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. If you grew up and Bill Clinton was your president and you went through the whole scandal, you know the line for line. You saw the deposition of Bill Clinton. You saw him lie in the deposition. Let's just be honest about what it is. Someone asked him a question directly. So why doesn't the media have the balls to ask Donald Trump if he did anything inappropriate with an underage girl or boy, whatever, anyone underage? And is it reflected in those files? Does it show that? Now, I'm sure people, the AI might freak out. They may take us down. They may restrict us just for asking a very truthful question. I'm sure the media folks or the journalists are afraid to ask because, hey, we're going to get sued or he's going to call and get me fired. So that's where we are. People know what's going on. People are not quitting their jobs because they're afraid that they won't be because they're afraid that won't be another one waiting. So there are people who are like miserable, but they're not going to do it because there are no jobs out there. And I have friends who are, it's terrible in any sort of media business. If you're in AI, you're doing well. And some of the tech companies, even not all the tech companies, because they're laying people off left and right too. But there are no jobs. Or as my friend said yesterday, who lost his big job and said, Don, this is scary because there ain't no jobs out there. And I said, yeah, you're right. Companies are not hiring because they are afraid of where the country is heading right now. We have a labor market that is not moving, it's not breathing, stuck in place, held together by hope and caution and artificial intelligence. And at the same time that we're dealing with that, Washington is shaking over what I call it, Epstein, the Epstein files. You can feel the tension there. And in the way that people are talking about it, in a way that they are distancing themselves from it. You see some courageous Democrats are out there. Democrats are feeling a little bit of a sigh of relief and a bit of confidence, but the Republicans, no. Now, I haven't watched Fox News that much, but I just wonder, I'm going to have to watch to see how they are. And if you have, let me know in the chat to see how they are framing this and how they're reporting on it. You see in the stories that they are suddenly trying to reshape a quiet panic among powerful people who once treated the whole thing like a joke. People who thought the truth that would never reach them, they thought it was going to get the Democrats. And now they're like, oh, shit. People who thought the world would forget. But the truth is a way of finding people. And when it moves, as I said, it moves fast. And the truth has found people. And I believe even the Fox News viewer is finding the truth. And even over on the Fox News, there is a reality check slips in every once in a while. And even then, I want you to pay close attention, okay, Lemonheads? Even then, they still try to spin it, and it doesn't make sense. In this, I want you to watch, because in this report, she goes, wait a minute. I just gave you a direct quote. What are you talking about? Watch.
But this idea that the Epstein files is going to be reframed as a Democratic hoax is never going to work. The American public is not cool with it. What does he have? Trump has a minus 39 approval on handling the Epstein files, and only 45% of Republicans even approve at this point. The narrative about Hakeem Jeffries, everyone at this table knows how fundraising emails work. So that email was from someone named Lisa Rossi, who's from a random fundraising group called Dynamic SRG, asking if Epstein wants to go to a generic DCCC dinner that Obama and Jeffries were going to be at. There was never any meeting. There was never any donation. And he appears one time in the Epstein files. By the Miami Herald's count, Trump is mentioned over 1,000 times in the latest tranche that just got out. And people are not going to forget that in 2002, for instance, Trump said, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. I have never alleged, and I am not alleging now, that Donald Trump has done anything untoward with an underage woman. But if you want to be throwing around single emails from a random fundraising group to try to make Brooklyn Barack look bad and not acknowledge how many times Donald Trump is mentioned in these files, you're just going to look dumb. And I would encourage everyone to not look dumb.
But it's other people mentioning him. It's not his fault when people want to get him.
I just read a quote.
But that was one quote, but other people are mentioning it to stop him. They're like the other person. They were all trying to stop Trump.
Why did he want the files to not come out this badly? Why? Just tell me why.
Why do you always fall for this stuff is the bigger question.
Happening again. This is Russia, Ukraine, everything.
I don't think this is.
It's unbelievable. I just gave you a direct quote where the man said that he likes younger. Donald Trump said that. That was a direct quote. That was a quote from Donald Trump. Or should we say allegedly or reportedly? That's what's been reported. Like, say what? That was a quote from Donald Trump. It's other people. They're still not believing it. I don't know if I sent this to you guys overnight, but there was, I saw this thing of a man who is saying, someone asked him, even if there is someone of a certain age, and he goes, well, that's not a big deal. That shouldn't be a big deal. Maybe I saved it. I don't know. But he said, that's not a big deal. There's so many things that are happening right now. Can't we just look at it and be together and so much good? And he said, what if it's like a 14-year-old? And then the MAGA person goes, well, I don't know. Why do we care about that? It's like, wait, what? Why do we care about that? I thought I sent it to you guys, but apparently I did not, because I'm looking for it and I cannot find it. But it is shocking that these folks do that. But there are the Democrats out there who are feeling a little bit more confident, and Ro Khanna has every reason to feel confident. Ro Khanna, Chris Murphy, a lot of them. But let's get to Ro Khanna first.
The minute Donald Trump signs this, it will be the law of the land. What does that mean? If you're in the Justice Department, if you're in the FBI, and you are thinking about tampering with the evidence or not disclosing the evidence, now you're not just betraying a Donald Trump campaign promise. Now you're subjecting yourself to prosecution. Now you're subjecting yourself to congressional contempt. And with Robert Garcia as the chairman in 2027, I don't think you want to take that chance. And when we have a Democratic president in 2029, I don't think you want to take that chance. So this is now the law of the land, and people will be held accountable. But here's why I'm confident that we will be able to call them on any tampering. The survivors' lawyers have seen these files. They know that there are men, powerful, rich and powerful men, who abused and raped and sexually trafficked these girls whose names are in there. And we will know if those are coming out or not. There are other career officials who have seen these files, and they will know whether there's tampering or not. And yes, the Attorney General holding them in contempt and prosecuting them is a very high bar. But that doesn't apply to career Justice Department officials. That does not apply to all of the people who would have to have a conspiracy to violate the law. And many of them could get prosecuted and could go to jail and could lose their careers. And so I just don't recommend it for them to be taking that risk, especially given the attention that is going to be on this issue.
And that's where we are pretty much as it relates to this Epstein story. Now, again, to the Killamede Fox News part of the story and what Fox News viewers are going to see and hear. And to my point yesterday about what we've seen so far with the release of with the documents that have already been released, that should be enough for Donald Trump to be pushed out of office. That just for his connection, the number of times mentioned, the things that were written about him, the quote that Jessica Tarlov just talked about. That should be enough. And for those of you who are maybe sitting and you're listening to mainstream media, so to speak, and you are getting this sort of, okay, well, there's no evidence you did this, whatever. You have to say it after every time because people, even Jessica said, I'm not insinuating that anything. Well, what are we left to think if you tried to hide these for so long? What are you left to think? What are people left to surmise here? People come up all the time, but well, wait a minute. They do that in courtrooms. What is the circumstantial evidence? What is the logic here? This leads to this. Logically, this leads to this. And logically, this leads to that. This guest that was on MSNBC, I believe it was this weekend, I think really lays out the severity of what we have seen and what we know so far. And people are they just keep moving the goalpost. Watch.
To be honest with you guys, I actually went through the files this weekend in depth. Donald Trump is not only named over and over in them, it is discussed this trial in which he was accused of raping a 13-year-old at Epstein's house. There is extensive discussions about a subpoena of Donald Trump in one of Jeffrey Epstein's cases in which he was accused for rape and sexual abuse. He was subpoenaed and gave a deposition in that case. There is extensive discussion between Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Mr. Wolf about not only Trump coming to his house, but Epstein says in these emails that he has photographs of Trump with girls.
Yeah. And someone mentioned, we talked about that this morning. Someone mentioned Katie Johnson. And that's a whole nother thing to report on about retracting and all this stuff. But If you can find me the escalator video too about the young girl, and he says, I'm going to be dating her in 10 years or whatever. And this is like clearly an underage girl going up the escalator. If we can find that, it's out there. Let me know when we have it. It's really shockingly unbelievable, because what we have right now is enough. And Chris Murphy is saying that this could be the biggest scandal in American history. Watch.
So the Department of Justice has 30 days now to release the Epstein files. How much faith do you have that it will?
Very little. I mean, listen, I think there's only one reason Donald Trump has been fighting so hard to stop the release of these files. It's because this is potentially the biggest scandal in presidential history. He wouldn't have been squeezing arms as hard as he has been over the course of the last few months if that wasn't true. So there are a variety of ways he could go, all likely not in compliance with the law. He could say that he's not releasing the files because there's an ongoing investigation of Democrats that he ordered. He could redact, 50% of the words or all of the names. I'm sure they're meeting in the White House right now trying to decide how they can get around complying with the law. And it may be that we will ultimately have to take them to court to make sure that they do what the statute says they are required to do, which is tell the American people the truth about what happened, the extent of this child sex ring, and whether the president or other powerful people were involved.
Yeah, so there you go. And he said it, child. Someone in the chat said, why don't we just say child? Say what it is. Why don't we just say child? Here's the other thing, too. First of all, let me thank Maureen Marthel. Thank you. Because of Maureen's generosity, 10 people get to become members of the Lemon Nation. And welcome to all of our members. Jocelyn, welcome new members. And Amazing Love 68, welcome to the Lemon Nation. Appreciate it. So also, here is the video that I'm talking about, just to prove the point. Here it is.
Soon. Thursday night. You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it? Okay.
Okay, that was a little weird. I just have to say that was a little weird. And again, to Chris Murphy, Donald Trump and Republicans and MAGA folks keep saying, well, it's the Democrats. It's the Democrats. What about the Democrats who are in there? As if that's some sort of own that Democrats are going to go, okay, ooh, maybe we shouldn't release them. I don't know. Maybe we should. This is how everyone I know who is a Democrat, and most of even the Republicans that I know, or the independents that I know, this is how they feel if there is a Democrat in there. Please answer the question for me, Chris Murphy.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that there are Democrats in those files. There are Republicans in those files. There are, Wall Street executives who have no political affiliation. What we want is to understand who was involved in this. I mean, I don't think the president is so selfless that he was, stopping the release of these files for so long because he was protecting his friends. I just think it stands to reason that he's very much connected to this scandal. And we may or may not know the extent of that, because it could be that the president is going to try to find a way to redact any information connected to him from those files. But to me, it just doesn't matter the political affiliation. The law is the law. They need to release the files.
His first words when asked if there were Democrats in there, he said, so what? And I think that's how most people feel. So what if there are Democrats in there? I have much to say. We have much to discuss on this, as well as what's happening with the economy and with the jobs. I have someone who can break it down for us. First, give me 2 minutes, a word from our sponsors. We're back with Tara Hoops. Support for the show today comes from MSI Reproductive Choices. Now, I just want to slow down for a second, because this matters. Around the world, in 36 countries, MSI is often the only provider offering contraception, safe abortion, and essential reproductive care. And this year has been incredibly tough. Funding cuts, programs shutting down, women losing options that they depended on. So after the first Trump administration, MSI saw what could happen and worked to diversify their funding. even then, they still lost $20 million. Yet somehow they're still out there serving women who have nowhere else to go. And the reason that they're able to keep going is people who care, people like you, people who refuse to look away, people who believe women deserve control over their own bodies and future. So if you want to help, if you want to keep this work alive, this is how you do it. You text LEMON to 511-511 and go to msiunitedstates.org. $65 gives 10 women contraception for an entire year. That's real tangible impact. That's LEMON. Text it to 511-511 or visit msiunitedstates.org. Text fees may apply. Support for the show comes from Beam. And listen, this is good stuff. Beam's cyber sale is live right now and for only 48 hours. And it's their best deal of the year, I believe. You can get up to 50% off. And with my code LEMON, you can grab Dream for $32.50. That comes out to $1.08 a night for real refreshing sleep. So you know this about me, right? When I'm tired, everybody around me suffers. Dream Powder changed that. It helps me fall asleep fast, stay asleep all night, and wake up actually refreshed. No grogginess, no dragging myself to the coffee machine. And I'm telling you, it tastes amazing. So pick the flavor you love. They all do the job. Beam has already improved more than 18 million nights of sleep. So if you have been curious, this is the moment to jump in. Go to shopbeam.com/lemon and use the code LEMON for up to 50% off during the cyber sale. Dream at this price will sell out. Shopbeam.com/lemon. All right, thanks to our sponsors. I want to let's talk about the economy because that's affecting you right now as well. And we'll get back to the Epstein thing. Tara Hoops is a director of economic analysis at the Chamber of Progress, and she joins us now. Tara, I was reading your stuff and some of the things that you have been writing about. And by the way, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so look, you say here, basically, you said unemployment is at 4.4% in September with 7.6 million unemployed, a little movement across the demographic groups. Payroll rose up to 119,000, driven by healthcare, food services, and special assistance, transportation, warehousing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you said the most interesting part that you found was that that Jerome Powell called it a curious pattern. We may never get the October numbers. So where exactly are we? And you also talk about underemployment. Where exactly are we? Because we had negative job numbers in one of the reports, at recent reports. We may never see the October job numbers. And here we are now in November, almost December. Where are we?
So the thing that is funny about this jobs report is that people were just kind of happy to get anything and to know that the economy wasn't crumbling before the shutdown, because we really feel like there is probably going to be some contraction that is going to come out during the 36-day shutdown. There was a lot happening during that time. So for right now, it kind of feels like for many economists, like September feels like so long ago. So you're taking this with a grain of salt. You are pleased to know like the economy was doing sort of okay, well, the labor market specifically, but you're also looking forward to the December reports and November data, and you're unsure what that is going to say. But the discussion on the broader measures of un- and underemployment is something I did find interesting, because these are people who want a job but aren't in the labor force or who are working part-time, and they're still trying to find a full-time job, and it's the worst it's been since the pandemic. So these are job seekers who are struggling in the job market, and they feel that it has been worse since the 2020 pandemic, which was a global phenomenon that was really shattering for a lot of people's job stability. So that is something that personally worries me, as well as the losses that we are seeing in transportation, warehousing, manufacturing. I mean, when you look at those sectors, the first thing that pops to my mind is, well, yeah, we have been seeing a lot of uncertainty when it comes to our supply chains, when it comes to our trade policies. And now that's starting to impact workers when the intended goals was to revive the said industry.
Yeah. So I think, well, the only thing that's really, I believe, propping up the economy, you mentioned healthcare, but it's open enrollment healthcare. And there's, people are concerned about that, but it's really AI is the bright spot in the economy. Where would this economy be without the innovations of AI and what's happening with that sector?
Yeah, so AI is something that everyone is trying to get in on, and it really is doing a great job propping up the economy. I know that there were some revisions when it came to California's budget. The only reason why they were able to stay above budget was thanks to the tech sector that they were able to fund for other social services. So we wouldn't know where we are without the AI economy right now, but we do know that it is something that is powering us through this. And if we are not to find stability outside of that when it comes to, leveling our trade policies, not changing our economic policies every single day, not sending out tariff checks and so forth, we will start to see those contractions show up.
Not sending out tariffs checks? What do you mean? Tell me.
Well, so the math behind the tariff checks have not really checked out. He plans to send this out mid-2026. And
I'm not going to get my $2,000 that I'm supposed to get?
I mean, do you make under 100K? That's kind of the baseline. And even at that point, if you have to all Americans who are making under 100K to send them 2,000, even at conservative estimates, that's going to be almost double than what we have for tariff revenue. So how are we supposed to pay off all of these people with these $2,000 checks, pay down a deficit, and do all the other things that we plan to be doing? We're also supposed to be sending aid to farmers. We're also supposed to be sending aid to Argentina. Like the money is just not there. So when you have all of these confounding factors happening, it definitely is going to show up into the data. But like I said before, we've had a government shutdown. We're kind of still running very hazy and will for some time.
So if you are someone who is out there, looking for a job, and it's tough right now. I know folks who are looking for jobs, and it's really tough right now. What advice do you have?
This is something that I think right now it's become very tricky. It's become very noisy. You see a lot of people on LinkedIn and all these other job sites, and they're really leveraging AI, which is a great tool if you want to, like spruce up your resume and so forth. But it's kind of taken out the personality from it, where people are all becoming a bit of numbers. I would recommend to people, if you are in like the professional services, to always have a human element. Reach out to hiring directors, like straightforward, send out cold emails, talk to people directly. I've personally have lost faith in the quick apply button that these websites offer, because it kind of goes out into the ether where no one is hearing about them anymore. But when I mentioned the curious balance before, it was something that Jerome Powell mentioned at one of the most recent Fed meetings, is that one, people don't want to really leave their jobs. They don't have as much confidence as they would like to in the job market, so they're holding steady. But also supply and labor are, going out the window, because we've been seeing a lot of like deportations. So you're losing a lot of people in like the construction industry because they are either too scared to show up to work, or they're being deported overnight. So it's either people are not hiring because they're unsure if their business will go forth, or the ban and the supply are going away because they are being deported.
Do you now listen? I know that there are some people who are saying, "Well, this is great." I guess it's as you sort of alluded to. People are looking for something positive, right? And maybe perhaps wishful thinking. I want to play this. This is from CNBC, and CNBC I've been watching is being very careful. They know Donald Trump is watching, and so they've been sort of hedging. I just want to get your take on this. Watch.
And here we go. This is the September jobs report. Non-farm payrolls are up a robust 119,000. 119,000 would be the best since April, when we were up 158,000. In the rearview mirror, well, last month was downgraded from 22,000 to minus 4,000. Now, if we look at what's going on with the unemployment rate, it ticked up from 4.3 to 4.4. That was unexpected. 4.4 would, last time we were at that level, boy, I have to go back a ways. October of 2021, when it was 4.5%. Now, if we look at labor force participation rate, it ticked up. That's a good thing. 62.4 equals where we were in May. You have to go to April of this year, when it was 62.6, to find a higher number. In terms of the earnings, average hourly earnings, month over month, up 0.2. That's a bit on the weak side. We're expecting up 0.3, up 0.2 equal.
Oh my gosh. Look, Tara, it reminds me of when Kevin Hassett stands in front of the White House And he just smiles and he's like, pretends like, yeah, well, the rich people are going to get a tax cut and that's going to help them. And he smiles. This guy is smiling through like, this is not great. I'm not the
unemployment is
economic
highest
analyst.
since October 2021. Like, people can still hear you. Do you recognize that? I think they just think Trump is going to be scrolling through the channels like, well, they're smiling and I see green. We're doing fine.
So what do you say to that report, though? I mean, come on.
I do believe it's still a mixed bag. We are just going to be continuing to run hazy. And the fact that we weren't able to collect any data during October is a bit worrisome. It's not that they're hiding it or anything. It was just they were not instructed to collect anything, which is just like frustrating on my own end. I would like to have more transparency and see where the economy is going. But it just shows that the Fed is going to have a really tough decision when it comes to their upcoming decision because people still don't know what they're going to do. I'm unsure if this is giving them the relief that they need to make that decision because, like I said, it's very lopsided at times. You still have jobs being added, but you also have an employment number that is the highest since, again, the year after the pandemic, which is not good.
Which is not good at all. I mean, Tara, that report reeks of desperation for me. And also, like, he's jumping through hoops, to appease the president, to please the president. Thank you, Tara Hoops.
Thanks for having me.
Director of Economic Analysis at the Chamber of Progress and also on the West Coast. So it's really early for her. Thank you for jumping on. We hope to have you back. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much more. I want to talk more about Epstein. And then I also want to dig in on this whole thing that is also helping to unravel the MAGA administration. And that is this Lindsay Halligan story and James Comey. But first, a word from our sponsors. Support for the show comes from Lean. And yes, doctors apparently do Black Friday because Brickhouse Nutrition just launched their biggest sale of the year. Everything they make is now 30% off. So if you wanted to try Lean, their doctor-formulated weight loss supplement for people who want real results without injections, this is a perfect time. They also have creatine, okay? It's creatine made specifically for women who want to feel strong, toned, and confident without flipping the whole diet or workout routine upside down. And Field of Greens, their superfruit and vegetable powder, is the only one shown in a university study to slow aging. That's really impressive. Every product they make, from collagen to sleep formulas, 30% off. These Black Friday deals go fast every year, so take advantage while you can. Visit brickhousesale.com and save 30%. That's brickhousesale.com. One more time, brickhousesale.com. Support for the show comes from Cozy Earth. You know that holiday moment that you wait for all year. The house is quiet, the lights are low, the tree is glowing, and you are curled up with someone you love. Maybe it's a pup. That warm, peaceful moment, that's what Cozy Earth feels like every single night. And there's always this one person on your gift list who is impossible to shop for. But Cozy Earth has become my go-to gift because people actually remember it. These sheets are made from bamboo viscose, so they're cool, breathable, and unbelievably soft. Once you sleep on them, you don't want to go back. Cozy Earth makes it easy for you. You can get a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. And right now, Black Friday has come early. You can stack my code DON on top of their site-wide sale for up to 40% off. Go to CozyEarth.com and use the code DON. If you send them a post-purchase survey, tell them that you heard about it right here on the Don Lemon Show. This is a gift that people will love. Thanks to our sponsors. Okay, so now back to the program, everyone. Yeah, by the way, it's Thursday, almost Friday. It's Friday Eve. I wish it was Friday. But anyways, so we don't want to rush anything. So yesterday, we talked about Lindsay Halligan and the questions her name raises. And you guys know Lindsay Halligan. She's a prosecutor, the one that Donald Trump handpicked. No experience, virtually no experience, very under-experienced. If anybody was a DEI hire, according to the Trump administration or the MAGA folks' definition, it would be Lindsay Halligan. They should put this in the dictionary next to Trump DEI hire definition. That's his definition of DEI hire. So all the questions that are surrounding her did not fade away overnight, okay? Because we talked yesterday. They got even louder. Look, I think even more pointed when people start to study just how bad it is. If you watched any of the, on social media, any of the digital shows, people are like wondering what the hell is going on here. And this whole Comey case could be thrown out because of it. This is serious embarrassment for the Trump administration. You can sense now something in the way that certain people are acting about this. The sudden explanations by some of the people who are close to her, but Donald Trump is not really saying anything. And there's all this sudden legal chatter around here, the sudden desire to sort of shift the story. It's fear. People are afraid. They're afraid of what's happening right now. Because the people who feel safe, right? Randy Lane, 76, Halligan is cooked for sure. And our panel yesterday said they don't believe this case will last much longer. That they're gonna throw it out. And then what happens to all the other cases where he has gone after his political rivals or his perceived political enemies? Because people who feel safe, they don't behave like this. If you believe in the truth, and the truth is harmless, then you don't scramble like this. So all of these threads, right? They're pulling at the same dress, the same slip. They all land sort of in the same place. The country feels unstable, not just economically, as we spoke about with Tara and before, not just politically, but emotionally, spiritually. People are tired. People right now, they're tired, they're stretched. People are trying to hold on to dignity in a moment that is really taking a toll on everybody. And maybe I'm, like my friend Dr. Frida says, or my friend Monique Presley says, but Don, you're an empath. I have to stop absorbing this stuff. You see it when someone says their hours get cut. You hear it when a friend says that they applied for 20 jobs and they never got a call back. You feel it when someone says that they are working harder than they have ever worked and still they are falling behind. That's where we are in America right now. Do not be fooled by the rhetoric. And then on top of all that, you have this political class that is terrified about what might come out of those damn Epstein files. They're trying to portray confidence. I wanted this all along. You guys know the truth. And you heard what I said before, and I truly believe this. What is in there so far is enough. So I don't know what more there could be in there that he would be so afraid of, or who he would be protecting, or what. I don't know. But something ain't right in Denmark. Something ain't right at the Department of Justice. They don't want certain names in the air. But there's a name in there that's been in there over 1,000 times. They don't want certain connections revisited here. They do not want the public to remember the things that they worked so hard to bury here. They want to control the story. The story is not letting them do it anymore. Because this is a moment that I've been telling you that's bigger than their control, bigger than their excuses, bigger than the spin. And I keep coming back to this, everyone. When the economy gets shaky, and yes, it is the economy, stupid. James Carville was right. And wait till I show you what James Carville has to say about this. He's going to sum it up for you. So call your friends and tell them to tune in right now. When the economy is shaky and then the truth starts to rise, it starts rising at the same time, then you get a moment like the one that we're living in right now, right? These things that are colliding. A moment where the mask slips. Like people appearing behind the curtain. The wizard behind the curtain is not the all-powerful Oz as they think. Excuse me. A moment where the country can no longer pretend, or where the things that we pushed into the dark come back into the light. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It's not soft, right? It's not a nudge, but it's not gently, it's with force. And I think people know it. You feel it in the conversations, and you see it when you're like, well, what happened? I used to pass that house and they had all that Trump shit up there. Where did that go? You feel at the grocery store. If you flip on, you see Marjorie Taylor Greene too on the TV sounding like a Democrat or somebody who has sense. So again, as I said, you feel it at the grocery store. You feel it when you talk to your family. You feel it in the way that people are moving right now. They're cautious, they're concerned, they're stressed, they're awake, or they're doing what some of the Republicans in Washington are doing. They're rejiggering, they're re-strategizing. They're trying to figure out, where do we go with the next moment? They're stressed. People are stressed and they're awake. So this is not just about the economy. It's not just an economic movement. It is. This is the system resetting itself, not in a dramatic sense, but in a human sense, a moment where people are realizing the people who run this country are not being straight with them, where people are questioning everything because nothing feels stable anymore. And so when you have a shaky job market, a confused Federal Reserve, a tight labor force, rising unemployment, political class in open and in some places quiet panic, and even Fox News, the Fox News is saying the economy is soft. You know the country is sending a signal right now. Look at the results of the election a couple Tuesdays ago. You know the truth is rising whether people want to face it or not, and some of it is quiet because those polls were wrong. This person is running a bad campaign, and Mikey Sherrill's campaign is terrible, and Abigail Spanberger's this. He's not a dynamic candidate, all this stuff. And people just said, I'm just going to vote. So I just want to say something simple to you in this show. This moment is not asking us to panic. That's why I said, I've been saying to you guys, you should feel good about it, but don't take your foot off the gas. Cautiously optimistic. Keep an eye on Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's saying the right things right now, but you guys know. Everyone has someone like that in their family. You already know. And sometimes the people in our families, they do change. You've seen that, right? Sometimes they have a come to Jesus. Sometimes they find the Lord. This moment right now is asking us to pay attention, to listen, to look closely, to understand that we are living through something that is real, something that is shifting the ground underneath our feet. Something that is pulling the truth into the open, and we cannot ignore it. We can't pretend it away. We can't tell ourselves that everything is fine, or we can't look directly at we can look directly at what this moment is showing us. We can look directly at the fear and the vulnerability, the instability, the truth that has been waiting to be heard. So be confident, people. Know your power. Know your value. Because I think the country is ready to hear this truth. Now, here is a truth bomb for you. The great Democratic political consultant extraordinaire, James Carville. Listen closely, especially if you are a MAGA troll or a Donald Trump stan in this show or in the chats. I want you to take a deep breath, turn the volume up, listen, roll it.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. A Democrat is going to be elected in 2028. You know that. I know that. It's going to be a Democratic House. It's going to be a Democratic Senate. The Democratic president is going to announce a special transition advisory committee on the reform of the Supreme Court, that we could have our third branch of government has lost the faith and trust of the American people. And his president are going to do everything along. He's going to appoint a blue ribbon, maybe Judge Ludick and the dean of the, just the usual fucking suspects, all right? And they're going to recommend that the number of Supreme Court justices go from 9 to 13. That's going to happen, people. That's going to happen to you. They're going to win. They're going to do some blue ribbon panel of distinguished jurists, and they are going to recommend 13, and a Democratic Senate and House are going to pass it, and the Democratic president is going to sign it because they have to do an intervention so we can have a Supreme Court that the American people trust again. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And I would bet a lot of money that that's what's going to happen. A lot.
I'm with him. I'm not on the Supreme Court part, but I've been telling you, I'm not so sure about the Supreme Court part. We'll see. And but I do believe that the pendulum is going to swing back to the more progressive side in this country, because old people be knowing. So I thought that I would leave you with that. If you want to know anything about the Don Lemon Show, here's where you go. You go to donlemon.com. Anything you need to know, our show, our main show is there at the top on YouTube. You can click on it, become a member, and subscribe. Subscriptions are free. The memberships are very reasonable, and welcome to all of our new members. To go back out of that, and here's what you can do. You can go down to the bottom, go to the Twitch and look at Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Don Lemon. That is our newest platform. Hi, Twitchers. I liked it because it's delayed. Just wave a little bit until it, there we go. There we go. So folks are watching us on Twitch. So hello to the Twitchers. I see you guys. I see your comments as well. And then if you back out of that, look at that. It just keeps going in infinity, infinity, infinity. You can go to our merch store where you can grab this amazing shirt. I'm still waiting for my Old People Be Knowing mug. We have our holiday collection out, which is ornament. You got to get that ornament. I just think that ornament is so cool. I can't wait for mine to show up. Better hurry up here because, you know, I got 2 trees. I may have to add another tree. I love Christmas. And we got the beanies there and the long sleeve sweatshirt and all of that, the new hat. So anyways, there you go. Go to the merch store. Go to Don Lemon, click on merch. Okay. So guys, thank you so much. Oh, by the way, some good news. I think we can't do it in Philly because there's not enough room. But I think on December 10th, in Chicago, we're going to add a second show, a later show that evening, more of a lounge kind of act later on in the evening at City Winery on December 10th in Chicago, and see where it says join the wait list. If you want to get information, you want to grab some of those tickets or be at first in line, then you join that wait list, and then automatically they can add you to the ticket list. So that's on the 10th. So back out of that, and let's see what's happening in Philadelphia on the 8th. Does that still say join the wait list? If it does, yeah, Philly is sold out.
Let me refresh.
Yeah, that's Philly. Join the wait list. So Philly, unfortunately, sold out, but perhaps there's some tickets. Sometimes some of the ticket brokers have tickets and you can get them. Philadelphia on December 8th, Chicago on December 10th, adding a second show in Chicago. We're going to come to a city near you. We have to come to LA. We're going to try to tell me where you want to come. Now, if we do this and you guys don't come, you know I'm going to be mad, right? Okay. So be informed without being inundated. I'm going to see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern time on the Don Lemon Show and the Don Lemon channel. Until then, know that old people be knowing and turn the TV off. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.